Like right now, I like the guy named Russell Brunson.
Okay, yeah. You have his books, don't you?
I have his books, and I have his very expensive course.
Are the books good though?
Oh, dude, literally, So I'm in his 2 Comma X. I'm in his 2 Comma X coaching, X coaching program, and basically he was talking about everything he teaches is literally the books, the 2 books. There's a 3rd one coming out soon. It's not announced yet. It's called Traffic Secrets.
Okay.
But basically everything is based on those books, and he says when he's teaching a course, he's actually teaching stuff from the book, but it's repackaged in a different way.
Okay, so it's like the thing you were mentioning earlier, Discover, and the other one, the Discover and
Declare.
Declare, yeah.
Yeah. It's similar. For him, he said, people will pay more money for something that's repackaged. For example, the same information you can get in that book, if he turned it into an audiobook, that book, the solid copy might sell for $20, but the audio copy might sell for $100.
Yeah.
It's literally the information from the book. And he said, okay, I can now turn that into a video and sell the same information for $500 a pop. Then he said, I can also now turn that into a coaching program, sell it for $3,000. I can turn that into a mastermind program, teach the same stuff in the book, turn it to a $30,000 a year program. And he was going through his offers and how he positioned everything. And it made me realize it's very, very true. It's not the content sometimes. It's the way you deliver it to people. It's how intimate are they with you. You know, like the further you're away from the guru, the less you pay, right?
Yeah.
The closer you are, the more you pay. But basically, the principles he's teaching is still the same.
Still the same thing. It's just all about how you're going to retain it. And I guess, like you said, kind of which form you want it in. But depending on the form, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah. So it's a lesson for us internet marketers, because that means when you create content, create blog posts, create a podcast, create some kind of video, or like something that from your experience where this is valuable information, you have to realize you can use that in multiple areas. You can actually sell that through multiple channels, and you could also repackage it in different ways to make it sexy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, to make it you're just dressing it up to, I guess, catch the attention of more people that'll, rope them in.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Just Koryzma, episode 4. I'm here today with the entrepreneur, Junseo Park. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man.
That's good. So you're an entrepreneur. So what is your take on it? Like, you sell boats? Or you help people sell boats?
It's a great question. I actually help people sell boats.
Yeah.
So my mentor, he took me under his wing around 2 years ago. And right now, they sell boats. So boats beyond 100 foot. So we just,
oh wow! So like huge.
We sold a boat like 2 weeks ago, $4 million, $4 million boat, and we're getting close to selling a much larger boat too. But these are very large ticket items, and basically I help my mentor do the marketing to basically sell this boat.
Okay.
Now, what I'm doing now is he's giving me a separate project where, okay, you're gonna get 50% of the profits, but I need you to do most of this, to run most of it. I'm like, crap.
He's testing you.
He's testing me. Yeah. But then he's giving me all the tools, all the resources, and all the information I need. And all I need to do is now execute. Is to just do the damn thing.
Okay.
That's all I need to do, and that's what I've been focusing on. And I want to be a successful entrepreneur. I think I'm living the entrepreneur life now, because that's what I've been working on the last 2 years of my life. But it's still, the goal is still, it's still close, but then it's kind of still far away, and I'm still working towards it every day.
I mean, that's what goals are all for, right? You every day you find a way to get closer to that goal, and you improve upon yourself.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So like, why boats?
Why boats?
Yeah, why boats? Like, why do you want to make an impact on like the marine and like internet industry?
Literally, I don't know how I fell into this, man. Like, it's a weird story. It's a freaking weird story. Basically, it started with Craigslist.
Okay.
My dad decided to go buy a flash for his camera.
Okay, yeah.
And he went to this office, and we basically bought this flash from my current mentor right now. He wasn't there, the office manager was there. And basically he saw these clocks on the walls. All different locations, Manila, Dubai, London, Paris, all different locations with different clocks. And he was like, oh, that's really interesting. And finally, my mentor Vincent came in and just started talking. My dad was kind of interested in what he does. And then he gave me a business card. And at that time of my life, I was doing websites for construction companies, for restaurants, for a soccer club. And I was doing websites, but I honestly really hated it. I was like, damn it, I hate doing this so much. And I was looking for someone to learn business from, because I grew up in small towns my entire life. And I didn't have someone directly to learn from.
Right.
And at that time, actually, that's when I learned about Tai Lopez. And
Okay,
he was constantly chirping like a bird, get a mentor, get a mentor. So I was like, I need a mentor. And my dad came back that evening, and he gave me this card. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting guy. And I looked him up, and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
Okay.
And I remember I was in my mom and dad's to-go restaurant in the bathroom, and I called this dude up, and this guy had a thick accent, and I thought he was Italian, but he turned out to be French.
Oh yeah, okay.
French accent. And he said, and I was like, oh, can I work for you for free? He's like, okay, send me something. And I was like, huh. And at first he said, send me a resume. And I knew that resume wouldn't work though. Because like, entrepreneurs don't like seeing my resume. They like seeing solutions.
Right.
So I decided to do some research, and I decided, okay, what's my skill set right now? I can do websites, I can do some video production, I can do this, I can create some sales videos. Maybe that's what I can offer him. And I create this report for him of what I could do for him. And all he would need to do is cover some costs, and I would do it for him. And basically I wrote that out. It was like 1 a.m. at nighttime, and I finally clicked the send button. And that morning he said, okay, come to my office 1 p.m. Monday. And I went there, and that's really how I started.
That's cool.
I went there overdressed with a suit.
Oh yeah. Was he like in like really casual attire?
Yeah, it was really casual, but he liked the first impression.
Yeah, dress for the job you want, man. Not for the job you have.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I didn't even get to work on anything business related for like a year.
Okay.
Because what happened was I was going to grade 11, and that was summertime. So I finished grade 10, and I was going to summertime. And for the 2 months, all this guy made me do was to go to his rental properties that he owns and clean them. And basically he gave me his entire library of books.
Okay.
His audiobooks.
Yeah.
And he said, I want you to listen to a book a day. And that's literally what I did. I listened to a freaking book a day. Like every book. I just listened to a book all day. And by the end of those 2 months, something changed in me. I went back to school, and I was like, everyone's so different. What's wrong with me? And I realized all that information had changed something in me. I've learned something. I've picked up, I don't remember all the information, but I picked up a few key important insights that had kind of switched the way I look at life, kind of switched the way I approach things. And I think that was like that moment where something switched to me. I was like, I need to be an entrepreneur. And after I finished grade 12, the guy asked me, hey, why don't you come work with me? And that's really where it began. And
that's cool.
He took me around and taught me things, and I'm still learning a lot.
Oh, I'm sure
I'm still in the beginning phase. I'm a freaking little peasant, man.
Right.
For
sure, man. But I mean, I'm sure it's like everything, especially with marketing being a lot on the internet. I'm sure it's almost evolving every day. What's the better way to do it or stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and the way I look at that now is just it's principles now. It's not anymore tactics. Back in the day, I'd always look for tactics. What's the best color for a freaking button?
Right.
What's the best line to say? And at the end of the day, the more I learn about marketing, the more I learn about business growth and that kind of aspects, I realize there's only a few things that really matter. It's the story, it's the hook, and it's the offer you make.
Yeah.
And without those three, the offer, especially the offer, it's not even the sales message. If the offer is good, a crappy sales message will sell it. If you have a great sales message and the offer freaking sucks, no one's gonna buy it.
No one's gonna, yeah.
And just those few things that I'm learning, I'm like, wow, that's really eye-opening. It's not just about tactics anymore. It doesn't matter what the color of the freaking button is, what you say. You got a few spelling mistakes. The video production quality is just your iPhone. No, if even if it's all that, as long as you have something that's good that people want, and you can convey that message of how good it is,
right?
And people will freaking buy it like that. And it made me realize, I was like, business is about principles, not tactics. It's about strategies, not tactics.
Right.
Like, once you have the good strategy, you can come up with the right tactics to improve things. But overall, if you have the right strategy, you will go in the right direction. If that makes sense.
It does. It totally does. That's cool. I like it. So you were also mentioning that when we were talking previously, you work on 4 areas of your life every day.
Yes.
So what are they and why?
So these are the 4 areas. I'm still working on doing all 4. It's not the thing I've been doing for a long time.
Right.
I've been kind of doing it, but basically the idea is most of the world think that they can't have it all. What I mean by that is they can't be healthy, they can't have financial independence, they can't have good relationships, and they can't have a good connection with God or whatever spiritual thing they have.
Okay.
And they believe they can't have all of them at once. And if you look around the world, you might think that's true, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of money and that are really jacked and ripped.
Right.
But back home, they've divorced 3 times. They've cheated multiple times. Horrible relationship. The kids don't even know them. And their side, the spiritual side, they feel like they're disconnected with the world pretty much. And they feel this emptiness about them. And we see a lot of those. And what they call them is 2-dimensional men.
Okay.
Instead of 4-dimensional.
Because they're only doing 2 of the
4 things.
Yeah.
And basically these 4 things are body, balance, being, and business.
Okay.
And those are the 4 things. And I try to work on all 4 so that every day, he calls it, the guy's named Garrett J. White. This guy is hardcore. And basically the community calls it do the core 4 before you hit the door to go to war.
Okay.
And that's really been what I've been trying to work on. And that really helped me to wake up in the morning and to make sure I hit those 4 things, so that every day I know I'm doing things that I have control over.
Right.
And I'm making progress.
Okay.
As long as I do and make progress every day, then I'm moving forward, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of times people do something once and then they forget about it.
Yeah, because they don't build the routine or the habit for it. They just if you don't do it for like a set period of time, I think it's like 20 days or something like that to develop a habit.
Exactly.
Then they just forget about it. It's like it's like people trying to quit smoking or anything like that, right?
Exactly. And by experience, you've trained people, you work out yourself. If one of your people you're training is working on sporadically, like they're going hardcore for 1 week straight, 7 days, and then for like 2 weeks they don't work out,
then they're not going to see anything, right? Like
nothing.
No, if anything, they're going to feel like almost worse because
exactly.
they're going to feel guilty for not going.
Exactly. But then what if instead of that, like let's say they work out 3 weeks and they spread out those 7 workouts with 3 times this week, 2 times next week, 2 times the next week.
Right.
They're more likely to get results that way.
Oh, totally. Instead of just doing it
all 7 days in 1 week, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's that's the way I also look at it. As long as you're making progress that way every day towards your business, towards your being, towards your balance, which is your relationship with the close friends and your family, and the relationships that you want to rekindle, and also your body.
Okay, yeah.
And as long as you're working those 4 things, that's all you really need to feel happy and fulfilled.
That's awesome. Yeah, like that's a really good idea. Like,
so if you look at my Instagram story, I work out, right?
yeah.
And I drink my green smoothie. Those are the 2 main things I need to do for my body. It's the fitness is the workout, and the fuel is the green smoothie.
Yeah.
And I get all my nutrition through that way.
That's
every
cool.
day.
You like to read. So why do you find it so important? Just because, you're building that knowledge, and then by that, what kind of books are you reading?
Okay. Knowledge. Really
Knowledge, yeah.
reminds me of Ty Lopez's ad. That's the
huge.
most viewed YouTube ad in history, by the way. Why do I like reading?
Yeah, because I myself, I don't read a lot. I've always found a way to just not read because I don't find it a huge interest in reading. So I wouldn't hate reading more. I also find it hard to focus.
Okay. That's actually, I've been in the same shoes as you. Literally throughout most of my school life, never picked up a book.
Yeah.
Didn't like it. If I were taught something, I would like to hear it.
Yeah.
Or just see it happen, Didn't like books. But then, as soon as I realized, I learned about human evolution. Not like from a cell to like an animal evolution. I meant the evolution of where people began and how they were able to get to where we are today.
Right.
And have an iPhone and have a Mac, communicate and build the internet. And it was through multiple iterations, like multiple small increment of improvement. But we humans die within 100 years.
Yeah.
But how was that knowledge passed down and experience passed down? It was passed through the words. And through words is through language. And through language was through books.
Right.
So most of human history, people didn't have electronics. This is a new
this
thing.
This is all very relative. This is very new.
Yeah, if you think about the existence of humans, this is like such a tiny fraction of it. All the rest was through written word and through books.
For sure.
And as soon as I realized the importance of that, I realized, man, within books there's so much value in it. And people don't recognize that value because they just take it for words on a piece of paper. But when you take into consideration this person's experience, when you can literally learn from a neuroscientist about the brain, his literally 40 years of experience in a book,
yeah,
that there's nothing more powerful than that. You can literally have that experience and you can take it in, you can learn from it. And I realized that was huge. Like I'm able to accelerate my learning that way by reading these books.
Okay.
Another thing was being sharp. I've always wanted to be sharp.
Right.
Someone who can quickly be witty, quickly think of answers, and be someone that's really being able to adapt quickly.
Right.
To any situation. And I realized for you to do that, you got to be able to think fast on your feet. You got to be able to think faster than others.
Okay. Yeah. I hear you.
Reading, surprisingly, it's just like working out.
Just works out your mind.
Works out your mind. And it's funny because if I stop reading for a while, I'll start thinking slower.
Okay.
I feel more clumsy and dumb. But when you start reading again and you start doing it consistently, your brain starts thinking faster and come up with solutions faster. It's just your brain is running at a different level.
Yeah, because I guess you can compare it to working out. You keep it exercising it regularly, it's gonna work faster, work quicker. You let it have a shitty diet and then just do whatever it wants, it's gonna slow get down.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think you gotta make sure. I don't really like reading storybooks. There are some really good storybooks that inspire you,
Right.
but most of the books out there aren't very. They're there to numb the mind,
Yeah, but you want something to help grow the mind.
help grow the mind. So, like you said, a diet, and a workout plan, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta make sure the words you're reading is actually good information, and now all you gotta do is now read it.
Yeah.
Put in effort to read it. You can't just lift the weight once. You gotta make sure you lift it multiple times and push your brain a little bit. So, I really think reading is important. At first, I wasn't able to focus at all.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to focus. But now I can focus for like a solid hour, 2 hours.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just really read a book. And you have to build it up.
For sure. Yeah, I guess it's something I would just have to work on too. Is just, maybe start 10, 20 minutes and then eventually just progress further and further.
Yeah.
That's cool. I never really thought about it like that. But whenever I'd have to read, I'd always have to read for something for school. So I'd always be less motivated, less interested. There's only been like a couple books that have really got my attention, and like I've actually taken the time out of my life and just read them, which I really enjoyed it, but I just never get back to it because I don't know. Once I finished them, I never really looked for more.
Yeah. For me, when I choose a book, it's always based on recommendation.
Okay.
From someone smarter than me.
So then you have a couple you'd like to recommend?
A couple I like to recommend? Yes, I do. I have 3 books.
You have 3 books, okay.
3 books. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are wanting to start a business, if you're wanting to have a plan to where you can do something, like you have a set plan, and as long as you follow the plan, you can grow a business. Doesn't matter if it's a physical product you're freaking selling hair combs or hair gel, or you're selling digital products, or you're selling chiropractor services, or you're a lawyer. It doesn't matter. These 3 books are principle, I think. It should be your Bible of business and marketing.
Okay.
And I'm gonna recommend 2 books from Russell Brunson.
Yeah, okay.
Because I've read lots of marketing books. I've listened to lots of marketing books. And these 2 books have so much value in them that I'm just thinking like, holy crap, how did he even sell it? Like, how he really given everything he had into the books. So it's number 1 is gonna be called .com Secrets. Number 2 is gonna be Expert Secrets.
Okay.
And the 3rd book I would love to recommend would be Pitch Anything by Oren Koff. Pitch Anything by Oren Koff. This book will teach you how to close deals, which teach you how to present your solutions. Not even just make money, but if you're trying to persuade other people, it will teach you how to control frames, how to control the basically the whole dynamic of the conversation.
Okay.
It's very powerful. If you're trying to pick up girls, it's very useful.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's awesome. So then speaking of like, you want to become sharper, do you ever like, how do you improve yourself every day? Like you always talk about, you always want to be better than yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of steps do you take to make sure you are doing that?
Number 1 is planning.
Okay.
Not planning for the far future. Not making like a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. No, nothing like that. Because we humans are horrible at estimations.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can plan that I want to own a gym in the next 10 years. That could change in 2 years. Like just the way our mind works, just the way our focus shifts.
For sure.
Like the amount of...
It might take even longer than 10 years.
Exactly, right? You don't even know because you can't make an accurate prediction.
Mm-hmm. So the way I think of it is you got to plan for what you're doing now. So you can have a year goal, 1 year goal, or even as far as 2 years. Nothing is farther than that. I think we can't think as far than that.
Yeah.
Humans can't really think that far. And I think as far as 1 year, and then you break it down into bite chunk pieces, and as long as you do this, you'll reach that. As long as you do these things every day, you'll know you reach that. And a good analogy I have is, if there's a mountain, Mount Everest, and you basically try to climb Mount Everest just looking at the summit, you will never do it. You will never do it. Because all you're going to see is a tip of a mountain, and you can't even see the tip of the mountain.
Yeah.
Instead, look at the tip of the mountain, and then you can measure, okay, that's how far it is. This is the track there is. And then you realize, okay, I got to walk this much to reach the mountain within this amount of time.
Right.
So all you do now is you know where the mountain is, you know where the peak is, and now you're trying to focus on your boots. You're looking at your boots now.
Okay.
And you're just doing the daily actions to get to the tip of the mountain. And as long as you focus on today, you're able to reach, at the end of the time, you should be able to reach the peak of the mountain. So that's the way I think of it. Break down the goals into daily action plans that you could do every day. And that's all you focus on every day. And plan your day before. Plan your day before. So maybe the night before, you create your schedule of what your day is going to look like for the day before, so that when you wake up the next morning, you hit the ground running.
Right, instead of just falling or something like that.
Instead of waking up and be like, what do I do? Yeah?
Yeah, totally. So, like, have you ever caught yourself procrastinating? Not necessarily planning your next day, but do you, like, procrastinating, like, learning about work or reading or anything like that?
Oh,
Constantly?
Dude, we're freaking human, dude.
Mm-hmm. So, like, what are some ways you beat procrastination?
Some beat procrastination?
Yeah.
Here's what I'm doing currently right now. This is for sales.
Okay.
I have a certain set amount of numbers I gotta hit, and if I don't do them every day, I pay this dude $50.
Okay, like your mentor, or
or
just like
no, I'm training with the sales trainer.
Oh, okay.
A sales trainer. And basically, I made this bet myself. He didn't say anything. I just said, hey, I'm going to pay you $50 for every day I don't do this. So, to make sure I freaking do this.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you don't ever want to be out $50, right? That's a lot of money.
Dude, imagine paying that for 30 days. That's like over $1,500, man.
Yeah, like that adds up really quick, right?
Yeah,
like,
that adds up every day. You miss 2 days, it's $100. You miss 4 days, it's $200.
Yeah, like, no, that's not something you want to miss.
Exactly.
It's smart because you're putting money into the equation when you want to make it, not lose it.
Mm-hmm. And people are driven by not losing things.
For sure.
Like, gaining things, they can be like, hey, I don't need it. But when there's a chance of you losing something you already have,
you work way harder.
You work way harder to just do something about it. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like going to university. For me, like, I paid, like, for the 1 year I was there, for my trade, I was there, I paid for it all, and it definitely made me work way harder because I didn't want to repeat that. I didn't want to lose all that money I spent to have to pay for it again.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I get that. That's smart. Oh, that's awesome. So then, learning, like, with all the learning, how did you come to, like, understand yourself?
What do you mean?
Like, why is it so important to understand yourself, like how you think and how you learn and stuff like that? Like, how did you come to understand it?
So, I think you're talking about how to learn, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of think something like that.
I realized there was a very big period of my life when all I did was just learn things.
Yep.
Just learn and 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 learn. And that, I think that's called the self-development syndrome.
Okay.
That's not the official name for it.
But it's just
it's just what it is.
I like it. SDS.
There's a very big group of people that are into self-development, but that only do self-development, and they don't do anything else, and they don't even take action on it. They go from one thing to another thing to another thing to the next big concept to the next big concept.
So essentially, they're just filling themselves with knowledge, but they're never putting it to use.
Mm-hmm. Never putting it into action. And I went through that for a few years of my life, and I realized, what is all this crap I'm doing? Like, I'm learning all this stuff, and it's just addictive. It's constantly looking for the next shiny thing, the next shiny object.
Right.
The next better method, the next diet fad. When that won't do it, because I'm not taking action on any of them. I'm just addicted to information. I just get a rush of dopamine just learning things.
Right.
So, the way to learn, I believe, is the most effective right now. It's the most effective way to learn is to learn one thing a day. Close everything.
Okay. And then like put it to use?
And then before you even put it to use, tell someone about it.
Okay.
Because when you learn something, it can't just be a tactic. It can't be like, okay, buttons need to be red.
Right.
No, that's not the topic. That's a tactic. What I meant is when you learn an insight or a strategy or a principle. For example, certain colors of buttons need to be like this because of this.
Right.
That's the principle behind it, right? So when you learn a concept or an idea or an insight, that's when you close it. And that's when you try to teach that concept to someone else.
Okay.
So that becomes something that's ingrained in you. And I've realized the more and more I realize when I do take actions on things, it's because I understand it.
Right. So I mean, like, if you don't take the action, it's because it's just not quite clear.
You're not certain.
Yeah.
Certainty creates action. And when you're not certain about something, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it.
Yeah, because you don't want to take that risk in case you fail.
100%. 100%. So when you teach that concept to someone and you're able to solidify that liquid into something solid, and it becomes something real to you, and it becomes something you actually get. Like there's a light bulb that pops in your head.
Right.
Then you're like, oh, I see how this could work. And then you're much more likely to take action on that. So that's another way to beat procrastination is simply by understanding it and internalizing that concept or idea. So that's the way I think is the best way to learn, is to learn a concept or an insight. Don't learn anything else. And then tell someone about it, either through podcast, either through Instagram, either through a Snapchat, either through any kind of medium, or talk to someone face to face.
Yeah.
And then internalize that, and then you're much more likely to apply that in your actual life.
That's awesome. Like you sure have dropped a lot of knowledge today.
Knowledge.
But I just wanted to thank you for being on the show.
Oh, yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on, and it's awesome.
Thanks, man.
For the people out there, where can they find you? They want to hear some more knowledge.
You can find me on LinkedIn, Junseo Park. You can just simply LinkedIn/Junseo Park -park. You'll be able to find me there. You could try to add me on Instagram. It's The Real Junseo. I can't guarantee I'll add you. That's where you'll be able to find me. I'm not huge into public eye right now because
I get that.
It's the beginning.
It's the beginning. It's the beginning of your great journey, right?
It already started a few years ago, but like it's really hasn't taken off yet. But
it will. I mean, like give it a year, you'll be the next Russell Brunson. You'll be like the next Ty Lopez. Man, I can see it now.
That's gonna take some time. Well,
I can see it, and when you're there, I'll be like, I had him on my show. He's my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, dude, this guy's hustling, man. So give him a shot, man. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember meeting you at the gym just a few years ago, and that's where it all started. That's where our friendship began.
Oh yeah. Damn.
That was great, and then it's like you disappeared, and then you reappeared. It was awesome, and I remember Dylan snapping me because he's like, Jinso's here, and I was like, wait, what? And I ripped to the gym as fast as I could.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Damn,
I hadn't seen you in like 2 years. It was fantastic. But yeah, I'm glad. Like, it's awesome. Like you're a great guy, and he's the hustler. You gotta let him sell your boats.
Give me your boats.
Give him all your boats.
No dinghies. Just give me the big ones.
The big ones, yeah, 100 feet plus. But if you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button up here. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to give Junseo a shout. He's a great guy and a good entrepreneur. So thank you again, and we'll see you guys next time.